All right, so this section talks about solving radical equations and story problems involving square roots. Okay, so just like if we were just solving this, there was no square root. Okay, we were just solving it like a linear equation from last semester. We would add 6 over. So 3 square root of x equals 6. Divide both sides by 3. So we get square root of x equals 2. Okay, so I want you to think back to last chapter. What gets rid of or undoes a square root? Okay, so if you think to last chapter, we had something like this, where we took the square root of both sides and it got rid of that square. Okay, so here what we're going to do is we're going to square both sides because we want to get rid of that square root. So square root and the square cancel, so I get x equals 4. Okay, so when you've got your square root by itself, you can square both sides to get rid of it. Okay, so same thing on this one. So we're going to subtract the 9 from both sides. So we've got 2 square root of x plus 6 equals 12. Divide by 2. Square root of x plus 6 equals 6. So now we got to get rid of the square root first before we can subtract the 6, because that's underneath my square root. So I get x plus 6 equals 6 squared is 36. And then subtract 6 from both sides, we get x is 30. Okay. Then the last type of equation that you're going to have to solve has 2 square roots. Okay, so here's what we're going to do is we're going to move one of them to the other side of the equal sign. So I'm going to add the entire square root to both sides. So I get square root of x minus 12 equals the square root of x minus 8. Get rid of your square roots. So we square both sides. So I have x minus 12 equals x minus 8. So then we solve this just like we would a linear equation. Subtract x from both sides. So I get negative 12 equals negative 8. Okay, well that can't happen. So that's a no solution. If I would have had negative 12 equals negative 12, that would be one of those all solutions that we talked about when we talked about solving way back with linear equations and inequalities. Okay, the reason why story problems go with this section, okay, is because really you're taking an equation and you're going to solve it. Like we're going to solve for x. Okay, so basically we're going to take this number, we're going to put it in for y. So we're going to have 3,000 equals 5,500 square root of 0.25x plus 0.1. Okay, so as you're doing this, you're going to get decimals. Decimals are okay. So don't think that you've done something wrong if you get a decimal. Okay, you are actually okay. So first thing we do is we divide by 5,500. Oops. So if I take 3,000 divided by 5,500, okay, I'm going to round it, so I'm going to say 0.55. So it's going to be a rounded value, and that's okay. So now we got to get rid of our square root, so we square both sides. So 0.55 squared is 0.3025 equals 0.25x plus 0.1. Okay, lots of decimals, it's okay. So subtract 0.1 from both sides. So I get 0.2025 equals 0.25x. And then divide by 0.25. So we get x equals 0.81. Okay, so that's number 0.81. Okay. So that's why that story problem piece is in this section, because you're just solving. You're using your solving skills to solve an equation.